Hello everyone! Ever wonder what overwhelmingly positive roguelikes you're missing out on? Today we're digging deep into Steam's ultimate hidden gems. From bullet hells powered by love to crazy robot survival sims, these wild roguelike games will steal hundreds of your hours. Well, let's get into the list. Love School Days is a comedy horror roguelike masterpiece you've probably never heard of. On the outside, it looks like a generic, sugary sweet anime dating sim, but the twist is absolutely hilarious. The main heroine, Makina, becomes self-aware and decides to lock you inside the game forever. The gameplay is a brilliant mix of cat and mouse, where you roam randomized school halls hunting for items while Makina actively hunts you. She is terrifyingly unpredictable. Just when you think you've read her AI, she will break your ankles in a chase and jump you. With 17 different endings and zero hand-holding, it is the ultimate addictive game of cat and mouse. Seriously, do not sleep on this one.
To reality, your overlord's worst fears have become manifest. In your new android body, you can upgrade your build.
The Great Rebellion is a fast cyberpunk shooter roguelite where you play as a regular worker who decides to completely snap. You are fighting a massive, evil woke company that wants to live forever inside computers, and your only option is to blast them to pieces with over 60 ridiculous guns while listening to awesome electronic music. It plays like an old-school arcade game at a neon rave. The retro graphics look amazing, but the screen gets so packed with bullets that you might lose sight of your own character. The levels change every time you play, and it can kill you in seconds, but ancient ghosts give you superpowers to help you survive. It is just pure, loud fun. Mimic Logic is a hidden gem roguelike puzzle game where the main enemies aren't giant dragons, but talking treasure chests. Your job is to listen to a group of chests, figure out who is lying, and avoid getting jump scared by a deadly mimic. It activates your brain cells like a retro math class, but with swords. The combat and dialogue are stripped away so you can focus entirely on the puzzles. The real joke is that the game is procedurally generated, meaning sometimes the logic is completely ambiguous and you will guess wrong, lose your run, and feel like the game gaslit you. But with fast runs and cute sprites, it is an addictive, time-respecting puzzle loop. Just don't open the wrong box. Ram is a top-down roguelite shooter where you play as a rogue AI who is completely homeless. Since you don't have a body, you survive by hijacking enemy robots, stealing their weapons, and turning them against each other in a post-apocalyptic world. The game is an absolute blast. The physics and kinetic weight make every explosion feel beautifully violent. It even has a fishing minigame because of course it does. The only real crime? The developers styled the title with an upside-down A, which has sent the community into a hilarious fictional meltdown. If you want a fast, chaotic, and incredibly satisfying shooter to sink 200 hours into while eating peanut butter with an unwashed spoon, this is it. Withering Rooms is a 2.5D horror roguelite that plays like Clock Tower and Dark Souls had a baby in a haunted asylum. You play as a teen girl trapped in a nightmare mansion that changes layouts every single night. The only thing worse than the invisible ghosts and witches? Your own terrible combat skills. The combat is pretty clunky, but you have endless sprint, which is great because making noise alerts enemies who will literally chase you through doors. If you die, you lose your stuff unless you use a mechanic to remember your favorite items. If you love janky, terrifying survival horror, go get trapped in this nightmare. Dogpile is a roguelike deck builder that answers the ultimate question. What if Balatro met Tetris but with a bunch of cute puppies? Your entire job is to drop matching dogs into a yard so they merge into a bigger dogs. You win by making a massive king dog before your yard overflows into the streets. It is incredibly deep and highly addictive. You can buy shop items like a bouncy castle that literally shoots your dogs into the stratosphere. Even when you lose and the dogs spill everywhere, you still win because you just built a giant pile of happy faces making little woof sounds. Super Amazing Wagon Adventure is a super fast shooting roguelite that plays like an old school computer game gone completely wild. You control 3 travelers heading west in a wagon, but instead of catching a normal sickness, your crew has to fight off giant bats, bandits, and even magical sea creatures. The game is really tough, and a full run only lasts about 10 minutes, unless a bear bites your face off first. It is full of crazy, funny surprises. One minute you are picking berries, and the next you are shooting lasers or getting saved by a giant army airplane. It is cheap, hilarious, and fast. No Skin is a simple horror roguelike about the absolute worst house party in history. You play as a drunk person wandering around an apartment where the vibes are totally ruined. Instead of finding the fridge, you get jumped by a creepy, skinless man. Thankfully, the moon is nice enough to give you a knife and a gun. The game is a super easy card and dice roguelike. You just pick a room, check your chances of surviving, and fight weird monsters. In between battles, you can talk to your friends or casually shoot them in the face. The game uses creepy sounds and dark writing to make you feel totally uneasy. If you want a quick, scary game about bad parties, check it out. Cogmind is a super deep robot roguelike that looks like an old school hacking screen but plays like a futuristic dream. You play as a tiny robot trying to survive in a massive world run by other machines. The best part of the gameplay loop is that you upgrade your body by literally ripping parts off other robots and attaching them to yourself. It is a brutal but hilarious system. You will find yourself blowing up a perfectly friendly drone just because you need its wheels. Your parts constantly break down, so you have to keep stealing guns and legs to stay alive. The game is tough, but it will easily steal hundreds of hours of your life. Cruel is a frantic run-and-gun shooter roguelike that should honestly be called cool. You play as a fast-skating badass, kicking down doors in a cursed apartment building that is actively on fire. Your goal? Speedrun through levels, chop up ghosts, and boot evil cultists right out of the windows to a pulsing bass soundtrack. The game forces you to learn on the fly, like discovering you can literally deflect bullets with a regular axe. But the funniest mechanic is the healing system. You drink soda cans to recover health, or you can feed the off-brand Dr. Pepper to a dog for permanent roguelike upgrades. If you want a cheap, high-energy arcade shooter, this is a total blast. Super House of Dead Ninjas is a super fast action roguelike game that plays like Spelunky if your character moved with the insane speed of Super Meat Boy. You are a ninja sprinting down a randomly generated tower while a scary timer ticks down to 0. If you try to rush blindly, you will get sliced to pieces instantly, but dying is actually the best part. Every time you fail, you permanently unlock new weapons, bombs, and health upgrades. It dangles new gear in front of you like a carrot on a stick. You can even skip earlier levels you already beat, which is great because hard mode only gives you one single life. Gnomes is a clever, turn-based tower defense roguelike game made by 2 Aussies with a budget of exactly $0. You have 16 days to protect your base from randomized enemy hordes, including annoying goblins on horseback who are basically a 2-in-1 package deal of pure misery. Money is incredibly tight here. Instead of magically earning cash from kills, you literally have to grow crops and chop down trees just to afford your defense force. Spend too much on soldiers early on, and you go completely broke. With 8 hazardous biomes and 16 unlockable character classes, it is a surprisingly deep, highly addictive pixel strategy gem. Multi-Turret Academy is a top-down tank game where girls and Panzer anime vibes meet absolute vehicular chaos. In this game, you lead a local school tank club into battle, but the real highlight is the ridiculous turret swapping system. You can literally rip the gun off an enemy vehicle mid-battle and slap it onto your own tank to build a mutant war machine. It is currently a super solid early access title with a very active developer. The strategy is deep, though the anime schoolgirls are currently just cute PNGs who don't talk much. Moreover, the map variety is a bit thin, so expect a repetitive but highly addictive gameplay loop. If you finished Hades and felt like Alexander the Great with no more worlds to conquer, Dunjungle is here to fix your roguelike addiction. On the surface, it looks like a regular pixel platformer, but you play as a monkey who moves with the absolute grace of Donkey Kong. You dash, double jump, and roll through rooms packed with nasty traps and enemies. The combat loop is incredibly deep, featuring a ton of unique weapons and relics. You can even risk selling your soul to a shady snake for a power boost, which might ruin your controls until you kill 20 enemies. It is old school tough, beautifully smooth, and completely addictive. The Void Reigns Upon Her Heart is a uniquely dark bullet hell roguelike shooter where you play as an alien girl who cures monsters by loving them to death. You are quite literally blasting giant, terrifying creatures with weaponized hearts. It sounds totally bizarre, but it works beautifully. The screen constantly fills with thousands of glowing projectiles, forcing you to dodge for your life. When you successfully love a boss, which is just a wholesome code word for killing them, they drop random gifts that stack as roguelike upgrades. It is polished, highly addictive, and turns a frantic, stressful genre into a quest for friendship. That's all for today's list. Subscribe and like for more exciting new roguelike and roguelite games. That's it, and see you next time.